She said I was just her backup plan. So I walked away silently and ended up building a life with the one person she never saw coming. Her own sister. My name is Daniel. I'm 34. A software architect who's always preferred calm over chaos, quiet over conflict, and loyalty over loud gestures. I'm decent in the kitchen, better with a keyboard, and until not long ago, I was in what I thought was a solid, 4-year relationship with a woman named Vanessa. She was 31, confident, social, and the kind of person who could walk into a room and own it without saying a word. Together, we had built a life that looked beautiful from the outside: joint accounts, a shared mortgage on a cozy condo, even rotating holidays with each other's parents as if we'd already put a ring on it. We hadn't, but we'd certainly talked about it. We window shopped engagement rings more than once. Everything seemed steady until it wasn't. It all changed on what was supposed to be a relaxing weekend getaway up north. A casual retreat at her family's lake cabin, 3 hours away from the city. The drive was long but familiar, with Vanessa beside me and her younger sister Maya, 28, sitting in the back seat. Maya was in the middle of her medical residency, quiet by nature, more likely to be found with her nose in a book than in a group chat. Her cousins Ellie and Marco were following in a second car, and I remember feeling genuinely grateful to be included in something that felt like tradition. Vanessa's family had always been warm toward me. Her dad and I swapped barbecue techniques. Her mom sent me homemade pickles every few months, and Maya, though reserved, was always polite. We'd shared a few conversations over the years, usually about books or her late-night hospital shifts, but nothing ever personal. We arrived just as the sky turned orange, the lake still and glossy like glass. Loons called out in the distance while we opened windows, unpacked groceries, and claimed bedrooms. The cabin smelled like cedar and warm smoke, a reminder that summer was still fresh and untouched. Dinner that night was low-effort, soft tacos, store-bought salsa, canned margaritas, and the laughter rolled easily from room to room. Conversations jumped between a cousin's Vegas elopement to Maya's hospital rotations, with everyone adding their bits as the sun slipped away. Around 11, Marco suggested a campfire and we all moved outside. By midnight, most of the group had drifted inside, leaving just Vanessa and Ellie out on the porch with a bottle of wine. I volunteered to grab more firewood. The shed was a few yards away, and the night air had that damp, earthy smell that promised rain but hadn't delivered yet. I took my time gathering the logs, grateful for a moment of stillness. That's when I heard it. Laughter. Ellie's loud snort followed by Vanessa's softer giggle. I slowed down automatically, not to eavesdrop, but just because the stone path was slick and shadowed by moonlight. Ellie's voice carried first. So, do you think Dan's going to propose soon? I smiled without meaning to. We'd talked about proposals a few weeks earlier. I was planning something for winter. Vanessa's laugh followed. It wasn't one of her genuine ones. More a soft, dismissive chuckle. Oh God. I hope not yet. I mean, Dan's great. He's like, safe. You know? He's my plan B. I froze right there, just behind a birch tree that hid me from the porch light. I could still feel the rough bark of the firewood pressing into my arms, but everything else fell silent. Plan B. That phrase echoed like a door slammed somewhere far off. A dozen moments flooded my mind, holding her while she sobbed over a job loss, planning every detail of her surprise birthday, spending nights working late just so I could afford the ring she'd casually admired last spring. And all of it, I was her backup plan? Ellie's voice was quieter now, unsure. Plan B. The wind rustled above, a sudden gust shaking loose a few leaves that drifted down without urgency. Vanessa's answer came in a whispered laugh, as if she didn't even realize the weight of her words. Yeah, I mean like, if nothing better comes along, at least I'll have him. He's not exciting, but he's stable, like a safety net. You know, I couldn't listen anymore. I turned away slowly, my feet crunching lightly on the gravel, but I didn't care if they heard. The wood felt heavier now, like I was carrying more than logs. I stepped quietly into the cabin, past the fireplace, and dropped the load beside the hearth. Everyone else had gone to bed. The room was quiet, shadows dancing from the last flickers of flame. I reached for my phone, wallet, and keys. I didn't take my bag. I didn't leave a note. I just walked out. The drive back was a blur of highway lines and empty thoughts. I didn't even turn on the radio. I wasn't angry, not yet. Just numb. Like someone had tilted my whole world a few inches. Just enough to make everything familiar feel suddenly foreign. I crashed at my best friend Liam's place, slept on his couch without explaining much. He didn't ask questions. By morning, my phone was flooded. Texts from Vanessa, missed calls, even messages from her cousins. Where are you? Are you okay? Come back so we can talk. I sent just one message. I'm not anybody's backup plan. We're done. And that was it. Over the next few days, her messages shifted. First confusion, then apologies, then anger. You're overreacting. It was just a joke. You should have talked to me first. You owe me more than this. I ignored every single one. I didn't need clarification. I'd heard everything I needed to. But there was one person I did reach out to, Maya. Not for comfort. Not for revenge. Just to figure out when I could pick up my stuff from the apartment we'd shared. I kept the message brief. She called instead of texting. Her voice was soft. She really said that? I told her exactly what I heard. There was silence on the line, then a small exhale. Wow. I'm sorry, Daniel. You didn't deserve that. I didn't know how to respond. I just whispered, thank you. 2 days later, I returned to the apartment. Vanessa wasn't there. Maya had waited for me, already bought a stack of cardboard boxes. We started packing quietly. Books, chargers, a few kitchen gadgets I'd bought. She helped wrap the plates in newspaper. Her movements calm. No pity in her eyes, just quiet support. I found a Polaroid from our first trip together. Coney Island. Us holding cotton candy and laughing. I looked at it for a moment, then dropped it in the trash. Felt like letting go of a lie. Maya drove with me to the storage unit. It should have been awkward, but it wasn't. We ordered takeout. We talked. Not about Vanessa, but about books, podcasts, music. She admitted she still watched Saturday morning cartoons when she could. I told her I missed slow Sunday mornings with French toast. Her laughter came easy. And that night, after she left, I sat in my empty apartment and realized I wasn't angry anymore, just free. The days that followed passed like pages slowly turning in a book I never expected to finish. Maya and I spoke a bit more often, not intentionally, not with any agenda, but our conversations felt real, unforced. I think it was the absence of pretending that made it comfortable. With Vanessa, I was always trying to live up to something. A version of me that was good enough, stable enough, impressive enough. But with Maya, I didn't feel like I had to be anything other than Daniel. Just me. She stopped by a few days later to help with the last of the packing. We cooked pasta, shared a glass of wine I'd been saving for a special occasion. Funny how the definition of special can change so quickly. We talked about childhood memories, medical school stories, the absurdity of adulting. There were long pauses, but none of them were uncomfortable. It was the kind of silence that happens when two people just feel okay sitting in a room together without filling it with noise. That kind of peace felt new, and I didn't want to let go of it. Eventually, we started spending more time together. Quiet walks, coffee after her shifts, sharing books we loved. There was no rush. No labels. Just a growing ease between us. Somewhere in those days of transition, I started sleeping better. I wasn't waking up dreading the day. I wasn't checking my phone every morning for passive-aggressive texts or thinly veiled ultimatums. I was just living. Then one weekend, we went to a used bookstore together. It was rainy, one of those soft, drizzly days where everything smells like wet pavement and old leaves. She picked up a copy of a novel I'd mentioned a week earlier and smiled like it was nothing. But it wasn't nothing. It was thoughtful, present, real. That afternoon, while waiting for our coffee order, she looked at me and said, "You know, I never really thought I'd be this comfortable around you, but I am. And that surprises me." I didn't say anything right away. I just smiled, and I think that was enough. Of course, word got out eventually. A mutual friend of theirs spotted us together at a farmer's market. Vanessa found out within a week. And that's when everything exploded. My phone lit up with missed calls, furious texts, voice notes laced with accusation. You're a snake. I can't believe you'd go behind my back. You always wanted her, didn't you? Maya got it worse. Messages full of rage, accusations of betrayal, screaming in capital letters. Vanessa said she felt disgusted, and that Maya had destroyed the family. But here's the thing, there was no plan. No secret affection waiting in the wings.
No rebound.
Just two people who found clarity after the dust settled. Maya was never a backup. She never entertained anything while I was still with Vanessa. What grew between us was quiet, unforced, and honest. There was no malice, just truth finding its way to the surface. We kept our relationship private for a while. Not because we were hiding, but because it felt sacred. No Instagram posts.
No announcements.
Just us. One night, a few months later, Maya's mom invited me over for dinner. I braced myself, unsure of what to expect. I was met with an awkward hug and a stiff smile, but midway through the meal, her mother looked at me and said, "You know, you didn't break anything, Daniel. You just stopped pretending." And that took courage. I was too choked up to respond. I just nodded. That moment meant more than she knew. Over time, even the tension within Maya's family began to fade. Her cousins stopped throwing side eyes at us during gatherings. Her father, though still reserved, started asking me about work again. Slowly, peace returned. Vanessa moved to another city eventually, blocked us both, and cut ties. I don't blame her. Some wounds run too deep to heal through conversation. And maybe closure doesn't always mean reconciliation. Sometimes it's just the acceptance that some stories end without a bow. Maya and I live together now. It's not perfect, no relationship is, but it's real. We adopted a dog from a local shelter, a mischievous husky mix named Toby who thinks he owns the couch. Our mornings are slow. Sunday pancakes in pajamas. Quiet arguments over whether to play jazz or true crime podcasts while cooking. There's laughter, but more importantly, there's kindness. The kind that doesn't have to be earned with grand gestures or apologies. And you know what's wild? Sometimes I think about that moment. That 30 seconds standing behind a birch tree in the dark, listening to a truth I wasn't meant to hear. If I'd arrived just a minute later, I might have missed it. I might still be living a life where I was treated like an option, placeholder. But life has a funny way of revealing what you need at just the right moment. That night didn't break me, freed me. I wasn't her plan B. I was just waiting for the woman who saw me as her plan A all along.